Om Sadashivasamārambhām Shankarācārya-madhyamām Asmadācārya-paryantāം Vande Guru-parampārām. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnāt Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamādāya Purnamevāvashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Namo Gurubhyaha. So we were in the beginning of the 5th chapter of the Brhadaranyaka Upanishad, where we were looking at the bhashya for the Purnamadaha Purnamidam, the Shanti mantra, which is associated with the Shukla Yajurveda. We were looking at the meaning of this, and here Bhashyakara takes up, first he gives the meaning of Purnamadaha Purnamidam that we saw already, and then he gives the meaning which was given by Bhartru Prapancha, who is the other commentator, or who was the other commentator, because Bhashyakara even started writing this commentary, he says, to negate the views which were propounded by Bhartru Prapancha. So here he then presented their views. Okay, Atra Eke Varnayanti, like that he started, and we even saw the views of Bhartru Prapancha, where he is saying that the Purnamadaha Purnamidam is only trying to show that both Karana and Karya are Satyam. Therefore, what will happen is Dvaitam also is Satyam, Advaitam also is Satyam. So he is saying Brahman is both Dvaita and Advaitatmakam. And this way, the Karma Kanda also has Pramanya according to him, and Jnana Kanda also will have Pramanya. Otherwise, he says, if you say Advaitam Eva Satyam, Advaitam alone is Satyam, if you say, then the Karma Kanda's Pramanya is gone. Like that, he says. Therefore, I have now reconciled both the Upanishadic statements and the Purva Bhaga, where Dvaita has to be Satyam for it to be valid. Okay. So like this, he gave his reasons for that. And here, I think we were here. Evancha kila dvaitasya satyatve karma kandasya pramanyam yada punar dvaitam dvaitamiva avidyakritam mrigatrishnikāvat anritam advaitameva paramartataha tada kila karma kandam vishaya bhavat apramanam bhavati tatha cha virodaha eva syat. This is the last sentence we saw. So basically what he is saying, if you say that Advaitam alone is Satyam and Dvaitam is Iva, it is as though, then the Karma Kanda will not have any Vishaya to talk about, because the subject matter of Karma Kanda itself is Dvaita, because without the factors of action, which are many, there is no question of any activity, any action, any ritual, any Vaidika ritual. Therefore, it will become Apramana, and because of that, there will be Virodha also. One portion of the Veda will be opposing or contradicting the other portion of the Veda. All these things will be a problem. So he says further, what he says, Veda Eka Desha Bhuta Upanishad Pramanam Paramartha Advaita Vastu Pratipadakatvat. So if we say like that, that Advaitam alone is Satyam, then what? Veda Eka Desha Bhuta means what? In one portion, correct? One part of the Veda, whatever is there, which is the Upanishad. In fact, it is a very small portion also, relatively speaking. Upanishad occupies, it is like the last chapter or last few pages of the Veda book. If Veda is a huge book, Upanishad is only the last few pages or few pages in between, because there are some Upanishads in the Samhita also, like the Ishavasya Upanishad. Anyway, so one portion of the Veda, one small portion, that alone is Pramanam, you are saying. And because of that, what? Paramartha Advaita Vastu Pratipadakatvat, because it is revealing the Paramartha Advaita Vastu according to us. And then what is the implication of that? Apramanam Karma Kandam. So Karma Kandam will become Apramanam. It will not be valid anymore. It will be erroneous knowledge. In fact, it's not valid knowledge. Why? Because asad dvaita vishayatvad, because the subject matter of karma kanda is asad dvaita. Dvaita, which is asat, which is non-existent. So then what? Tad virodha parijihirshaya shrutya etaduktam. So it will be like this, he is saying. The Shruti having taught Advaitam in the Upanishad and already having mandated so many things to be done in the Karma Kanda. Now it is trying, Shruti itself is trying to reconcile, he like that only he is presenting. Okay, because there is a Virodha, obviously. If you say Advaitam Satyam, and then you have also been talking about Dvaita all over. So now how do we reconcile this contradiction? Means, in fact, Tad Virodha Parijihirshaya means to get rid of this contradiction only with a desire to take care of this contradiction. Shrutya etaduktam. Shruti has said this. What? Purnamadaha Purnamidam. Correct? Karya Karanayoho Satyatvam Samudravat Purnamadaha Ityadina iti. So the Purnamadaha Purnam Idam mantra is only showing that both Karya and Karana are Satya. The Satyatvam of the Karya and Karana, the cause and effect, has been established by the Shruti, and the analogy I am giving for that. What is the analogy? To assimilate this, Samudravat. Samudra is like Brahman, and it has many things. It has water, it has foam, it has bubbles. So like that, even though Samudra is one, it has many parts like this. Okay. So this is their idea. Samudra is the analogy he is giving for that. Ityadina iti. So with this, the Bhartri Prapancha Mata is over. Now Bhashyakara comes. He says Tadasat. Okay, it is not true, it is false. Because it started here, correct? Atra eke varnayanti. From here up to this, it is the presentation of the Bhartri Prapancha Mata. Now Bhashyakara says it is not true, it is asat. Why? Vishishta Vishaya Apavada Vikalpayoho Asambhavat. Okay, see, contradictory statements are nothing new in the Shruti. Okay, and even the those who are Purva Mimamsakas, they have dealt with this all over the Karma Kanda itself. See, if there is something contradictory in the Karma Kanda, how do we deal with that? So there are two options in Karma Kanda, what we call as Utsarga and Apavada. First, Utsarga means a general rule. Okay. In fact, the saying is that any rule has an exception, correct? So for a general rule, you can always have specific exceptions, correct? This is true even in law here. Whoever studies law even today, we all know that there are exceptions are there. Exceptional clauses will be there. Or even if you have written computer programming, we all know there are always corner cases and things like that we talk about. So there is a general rule, then there is an exception. So that way we reconcile it, because the exception is only for a specific thing. Or it is a vikalpa, it is an option genuinely. Okay, you can either do this or do that. In this way only contradictions are resolved in the Karma Kanda. But what Bhashyakara is saying here is both of that is not possible in the case of Advaita and Dvaita. In the case of Brahman, in the case of Brahmatma, whatever Brahmatma which has been revealed by the Shruti, it cannot be reconciled like this. So Vishishta Vishaya Apavada. So Vishishta Vishaya is the whatever Brahman which has been revealed now, correct? As Advaitam Brahma, Sarvagatam, Nirvikalpam, Nirvishayam, Nishkriyam, all this, whatever. There are so many things which are said about this Brahmatma. That is the Vishishta Vishaya. That is the specific topic under discussion. But that cannot be considered as a apavada or an exception or a specific exception, particularly to a general rule. Either way, either you assume Karma Kanda is the general rule and this is exception, or you say Brahman as Advaitam is the general rule, Karma Kanda is the exception. Whichever way you look at it, one is Utsarga, another is Apavada. We cannot look at it like that. It is not possible. Or the other is what? Why can't both Dvaita and Advaita be there? Either you take Dvaita or Advaita. It's up to you. That also is not possible. There cannot be any Vikalpa also. It's not an optional thing where any one thing you can do. Both are asambhava, both are not possible in this case. Okay. So he now explains that why nahi yam suvivakshita kalpana. Therefore, your kalpana is not proper. Whatever you have given the explanation, it is not a proper explanation. Whatever you have assumed, your assumptions are not correct. In fact, anybody's logic is only as good as their starting point, correct? The starting assumptions have to be proper. Then your end point will be proper. Here, your starting assumptions only is not, they are not good enough. Your kalpana is not suvivakshita. Kasmat, why? Means yatha kriya vishaye utsarga praptasya ekadeshe apavadaha kriyate yatha ahimsan sarvabhutani anyatra tirthebhyah himsa sarvabhuta vishaya utsargena nivarita तीर्थे विशिष्ट विषये ज्योतिष्टोमादौ अनुज्ञायते न च तथा वस्तु विषये अद्वैतं ब्रह्म उत्सर्गेण प्रतिपाद्य पुनः तदेक देशे अपवदितुं शक्यते ब्रह्मणः अद्वैतत्वादेव एकदेशानुपपत्तेः. Okay, so this is a big sentence. First what? Yatra kriya vishaye. So now first let us take the kriya vishaya with reference to the our activities. Utsarga praptasya ekadeshe apavadaha kriyate. So in the kriya vishaya, like I said in the karma kanda itself, there can be general rules and then specific exceptions. Correct? Ekadesha apavada is specific exception. Then he is given an example for that. What is that? Even in the Chandogya Upanishad, in fact, this is the last vakya in the Chandogya Upanishad, 8:15:1. And even in that, there is a big sentence. Even in that, it is there in the end. Ahimsan sarva bhutani. So you have to be non-violent with reference to all the beings. But anyatra tirthebhyah, only the exception is given there itself. The general rule is ahimsan sarva bhutani, but anyatra tirthebhyah means tirtha here means not like the tirtha yatra where we go for a tirtha, correct? Here tirtha means all this jyotishtomadi only are called tirtha because there are specific Vaidika rituals where Pashubali is allowed. Okay, even saying this nowadays, some people get upset. But the traditional view, you go and ask any Shankaracharya also, they will all say that Pashubali is there, some of the Vaidika rituals. And some people who oppose that also, what they do, they use something called Pishta Pashu. So they will make animal images with some flour, correct, like rice flour or wheat flour. And then they will do Prana Pratishtha. And then they will do Bali of that. As soon as you do Prana Pratishtha, it is like, it is there, correct? Pranan is there. So anyway, even if you do, whichever way you do, that Bali is allowed. Wherever the Bali is allowed by the Shastra, it is not even considered as Ahimsa, in fact. That is the idea here. So Ahimsan Sarva Bhutani Anyatra Tirthebhyaha is there. So iti Himsa Sarva Bhuta Vishaya Utsargena Nivarita. So in general, the Himsa uh, has been negated, correct? As the general rule with reference to all the beings. Sarva Bhuta Vishaya Himsa Utsargena Nivarita. But what Tirthe Vishishta Vishaye, but the specific occasion of Tirtha, which is nothing but what Jyotishtoma in homas which involve Pashubali, like Jyotishtoma, Anujñayate, it is allowed. Nacha tatha vastu vishayeha advaitam brahma utsargena pratipadya. So here you cannot say that no, Brahman has been revealed in general as Advaitam. Okay, utsargena, like a general rule, having revealed Brahman as Advaita, then as a specific rule, what? Punaha tad eka deshe apavaditum shakyate. You cannot have an exception specifically. Why? Brahmanaha advaitattvadeva. Because Brahman is Advaita. It doesn't have any parts. It's a partless whole. So where can you then have any kind of, and there is nothing other than that also. It is a partless whole. It is Ekameva Advitiyam Brahma once you say. It is a partless whole and it alone is there. There is nothing else other than that means. Where is the question of any Ekadesha itself is not possible, Bhashyakara is saying. Correct? There cannot be any specific portion or part of Brahman. Brahman is one unalloyed, undivided whole. Okay? It is one homogeneous entity without a second. So Advaitattvadeva Ekadeshanupapattehe. Okay. Similarly, what Vikalpa also is not possible here. Tata Vikalpa Anupapattescha. There is no option that either you take Advaitam Brahma or Dvaita Jagat. There is nothing like that. There is no Vikalpa. For example, Vikalpa also he gives another example from the Veda only. They don't know from where it has come. But Atiratre Shodashinam Grinhati. Na Atiratre Shodashinam Grinhati. So in Samskrita grammar, you have the ways of actually dividing things, correct? The Sandhi rules are there. So based on that, sometimes you get all these, both are possible. So which one should I consider? Means you take it as a vikalpa because it is a karma, correct? Shodashinam Grinhati means Shodashi, like that there is a patra. They say it's a vessel actually. So whether you hold that vessel and do the Atiratra Yajna or you do not hold, it is up to you. Both ways you can do because it is karma. Karma means kartum shakyate, akartum shakyate, anyatha va kartum shakyate, we say. With reference to action, you can either do, you need not do also. Just because the Veda is saying nobody has to do anything, correct? Unless you have a desire and it is interesting to you or you want that phala, correct? You will not do anything, even though the Veda may mandate. The mandate and all, the Purva Mimamsaka say that Vedas force you to do or something like that. Bhashyakara says nobody can force anybody. The Vidhi itself is only Vidhi Chaya. It is as though a Vidhi only. Okay. There is no real Vidhi. Nobody can force anybody else because karma itself is Purusha Tantra. Whatever is Purusha Tantra, it is up to you. You can do, you need not do, you can do differently also wherever there is a Vikalpa. So here it is fine. Atiratre Shodashinam Grinnati, okay. Na Atiratre Shodashinam Grinnati, okay. Iti Grahana Agrahanayoho Purusha Adhinatva, because it is Purusha Adhina. It is dependent on the person. Vikalpaha Bhavati, therefore there is an option. Wherever there is a activity which is based on your will, correct, of a person, then it is up to you. But natu iha tata vastu vishaye dvaitam va syat advaitam va iti vikalpaha sambhavati. But knowledge or in the case of this vastu which is Brahman, you cannot know it as both Advaita and Dvaita. It is like one vastu is there. You cannot know it both as orange and apple, correct? Either it is orange or it is apple. Just because you like apple, you cannot know an orange as apple, correct? You have to know an orange as orange, apple as apple, because knowledge is always Vastu Tantra, we say. It should be true to the object which is being revealed, which is being cognized. So in the Vastu Vishaya, there cannot be any Vikalpa that, okay, you know it as Dvaitam also or Advaitam also. Like nowadays they have this, you keep on getting it in WhatsApp and Facebook and all these places, correct? Every now and then somebody will send some image. Now you look at it in one way, it will be like a hair. You look at it in another way, it will be some old lady, or it is a horse and something else. All these things, the visual, you can say they have some kind of a illusion, kind of a drawing. That is okay in the case of drawing, not here. You cannot say that Brahman can be either Dvaita or Advaita. That Vikalpa is not possible. You have to know it as it is. Why? Because it is Apurusha Tantratvat Atmavastunaha. Atmavastu is Apurusha Tantra. It is not dependent on your will or anything. That's why we say you have to surrender to the Pramana. When we talk about this Atma Jnanam, any Jnanam for that matter is not dependent on your will, as I told you. Because whatever is being cognized, you have to surrender to the Pramana. In fact, all the Indriyas, the Indriya Pratyaksha, when it happens, we actually surrender to our Pramana, correct? We don't question unless you age a little bit and then your eyesight is not very good and all that, then you can start questioning your eyes. That's okay. That's a different thing. But in general, we do not question what is being revealed to us through our indriyas. We take it as true only. Of course, in some cases, it can turn out to be false also. Even then, we always go with whatever is revealed to us. Then only knowledge can take place. Like that, Shruti also, whatever it is revealing to you, that Pramana Vyapara is not Purusha Tantra is there till the time you come to the class and you listen to the Guru, correct? That you have to use your will. But once you sit in the class and start listening, that is Pramana Vyapara is happening. Whatever is happening, it goes and it works in your mind. Your will is only a hindrance, in fact, here. If your will is not involved, the Pramana will operate. Okay, and if you are qualified, knowledge has to take place. It is, in fact, it is beyond your free will. Knowledge will take place. Okay, that is the beauty of this Pramana Vyapara. So it is not Purusha Tantra, it is Apurusha Tantratvat Atma Vastunaha. Further, what Virodhacha, it is also contradictory because same thing cannot be Dvaita and Advaita, correct? So he is saying Dvaita Advaitvayoho Ekasya Virodhacha, it is Virodha. The same Vastu at the same time cannot be both Dvaita and Advaita. It doesn't make any sense because they are mutually exclusive things. That which is not mutually exclusive, it can be there together. But here it is not like that. The mutually exclusive dharma or qualities cannot be there at the same time. Therefore, what tasmat na suvivakshita yam kalpana. So again he is saying this. Whatever you have imagined, it's only your kapola kalpita, like we said. It is the imagination of your skull. You have not applied your intellect properly. Further, he is saying Shruti Nyaya Virodhacha. Whatever is say you are saying is also opposed to the Shruti and even logic, common sense. Nyaya. Why? Because Shruti is revealing this Brahman like this only. How? It is not revealing Dvaita and Advaita Atmaka. It is only revealing it as Advaita. So he is saying Saindava Ghanavate Prajnana Ekarasa Ghanam Nirantaram Purvapara Bhahyabhyantara Bheda Vivarjitam Sabhahyabhyantaram Ajam Neti Neti Asthulam Ananu Ahraswam Ajaram Abhayam Amritam Ityeva Madhyaha Shrutayaha Nishchitarthaha Samshaya Viparyasa Ashankarahitaha Sarvaha Samudre Prakshiptaha Syuhu Akinchit Karatvat. Okay. So he's saying there are so many Shruti Vakyas which are revealing this Brahman as Saindava Ghanavati, means it is one homogeneous entity. Prajnana Ekarasa Ghanam, it is of the nature of consciousness, but it is one homogeneous again entity, partless whole, and it is always there. Nirantaram, it is Nitya, it is the invariable, it is Avyakta, it doesn't change, it doesn't become manifest and then unmanifest and all that. Correct? Purva Apara Bhashya Bhyantara Bheda Vivarjitam. So it doesn't have any divisions or Bheda distinctness. Like in the past it was like this, in future it or past, future, present, all this. The Bheda with reference to time also is not there. Bheda with reference to space also is not there in this. In fact, space-time are only superimposed on this vastu. It transcends space-time. So, Purva, Apara, Bhashya, Abhyantara, Bheda Vivarjitam, Sabahya, Abhyantaram. In fact, it is there everywhere. That way also we can say, correct? It is all pervading with reference to space, with reference to time also, because it is Ajam, it is beginningless, it is unborn, and it has to be known as only Neti Neti because it is not an object of cognition. It is yourself. And that self is what? Astulam, Mananu, Ahraswam, Ajaram, means it is not grass, Astulam, and it is not like very small like Anu, Ananu, Ahraswam, it is not short, and Adhirgam, it is not long. All these things are said only to show that it is not measurable. It is not subjected to any measurement. It transcends all kinds of measurements and it doesn't grow old also. It doesn't change. Ajaram, Abhayam, it is again, there is no fear in this. Why? Because there is nothing, there is no Bhaya Karanam. Other than it, there is nothing else is there. And it is Amritam. It is not subjected to time itself. So like this, so many statements are there, hundreds of statements are there, and their meanings also you cannot interpret in any other way. Okay, evamadhyaha shrutayaha nishchitarthaha, he says. It has been ascertained, determined that this is the meaning. Shruti is revealing like this. So there is no question of any doubt or a different reading. Correct? So samshaya viparyasa ashanka rahitaha. So there is no question of any doubt or any different kind of opinions in here, or optionally you can take this way, that way, nothing like that. And all these vakyas, what will happen to them? Sarvaha samudre prakshiptaha suhu. If you go with your kalpana, it is like throwing all these statements into the sea. But he gave the samudra analogy. So Bhashyakara is saying it is as though throwing all these statements into the sea only, because they have nothing to do. Akinchit karatva. Whatever they are revealing, it's all waste now. It's not, it's for no use. Okay. So Shruti Virodha he has shown here. Then what? Nyaya Virodha api, he says, Tatha Nyaya Virodha api Savayavasya Anekatmakasya Kriyavataha Nityatva Anupaptehe. So whatever is Savayava, which is having Avayavas, which is having parts, and it is Anekatmakasya, it has many, it is a combination of many things, correct? You cannot say it is having one nature or anything. And that which is also subjected to action, Kriyavataha. So all these things, if you say, it cannot be anymore Nitya. Okay, it is it is Dvaita Atmaka, means Dvaita Atmaka means what? Even if Atma is Dvaita Atmaka, then Atma will become Anitya. If it is having parts, if it is not of the same nature and is subjected to activity and action, means it will modify, then it will be Anitya. So, Nityatvam cha Atmanaha Smrityadi Darshanat Anumiyate. Atmanaha Smrityadi means, okay, another point is making very interesting. So, you have memory. For memory to be there, you should have somebody who is the same, correct? The one who cognized before and one who is recollecting now has to be same. There cannot be any variation in that conscious entity which has had a cognition before and which is able to recollect now, means there is something sthayi there, correct? Something which is invariable has to be there. And from that also we can infer that that is Atma is something which is Nitya. Okay, without the Nitya Atma, Smriti itself is not possible. It is not Shanika basically, correct? Otherwise the Atma itself is changing all the time. Even the Gita also this comes, correct? So dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi dhiras tatra na muhyati. Like that, dehinosmin yatha dehi asmin dehe. In this deha, the dehi is nitya. The one who is indwelling in the body, the one who is having his this, or one who is considering this body as his body or her body, correct? The indweller of the body, that person has to be the same, correct? In fact, anybody has that kind of experience only, correct? I was a child, I was a youth, I am now whatever, some age. That I, even with reference to your own, this life, if you take, the I is invariable, the same. That's why even looking at your old photograph, you can say, this is I. Means what is there same? There is no sameness in your body, mind, sense complex, correct? Or you look at an old video of yourself. In fact, I can tell now. I can show my old video. Most people may not even recognize it is the same person because there is no samya in anything, correct? Then what is, where is the samya? Means that person who is indwelling in the body is the only unchanging. That's where you can have that identity. And that identity itself points to something which is nitya, which is beyond time and space, correct? So that is what he is saying here. Vrityadi darshanat anumiyate. And further what? Tad virodhascha prapnoti anityatve. But if Atma itself, if you say is Dvaitatmaka and having parts, then Atma will become Anitya and that will go against this Anumana. Correct? That Atma is Nitya. And further what? Bhavat Kalpana Anarthakyam cha. And whatever your Kalpana is also useless. In fact, you are so worried about having Pramanya for Karma Kanda, but your whatever the Siddhanta which you have given will make the Karma Kanda itself useless. That's what Bhashyakara will point out now. So he is saying your Kalpana is also useless, Anarthaka. Why? There is Anarthakyam. Why? Because Putam evachasmin pakshe Karma Kanda Anarthakyam. In fact, he says explicitly, he is poking and saying, see, if we go with whatever you are proposing, the Karma Kanda whose Pramanya you want to uphold so much, that itself will become useless. Why? Akrita, Abhyagama, Krita Vipranasha Prasanga, because if Atma itself is Anitya, anybody can get anything, correct? The same Atma is getting its Karma Pala, you cannot say. So, whatever one Atma is getting, it is coming from something, whatever it may not have really done. And whatever it has done, it will not give Phala to the same Atma because that Atma has already changed and it is Anitya anywhere. It is gone already. A new Atma has come. Like this, it will become. So, Akrita Abhyagamaha means what? Whatever you have not done, that you are experiencing, in fact, the result of that. That is not wrong. Similarly, Krita Vipranashaha means what? Whatever you have done, that Phala you are not able to enjoy, whether it is good or bad. Correct? Both should not be there. In fact, for Karma Kanda, it is very important. Correct? You are doing the karma and you are the one who should be enjoying the result of that karma. Correct? And if the Atma itself becomes Anitya, that you will not be the same to enjoy it. So you will have Akrita Abhyagama and Krita Vipranasha. That will be there if Atma becomes Anitya. So your Karma Kanda itself will become useless. Okay, once we say this, what now they come back. He says, Nanu Brahmanaha Dvaita Dvaita Advaita Atmakatve Samudradi Drishtanta Vidyante Katham Uchyate Bhavata Ekasya Dvaita Advaitatvam Viruddhamiti. Okay, now he is saying, but is there is there an analogy or upamana, correct? Something similar. Let's take the Samudra. Samudra is one if you take it as Samudra, but it is many if you look at it as foam, bubbles, etc. Or you take the forest is one, Vana, but then if you count the trees, it is many. Or you take tree itself, tree is one, but it has many parts like branches, leaves, flowers, etc. So how can you say these drishtantas are there? Therefore, Dvaita Dvaitatmakam, why can't you accept Brahman? This is his argument. You are going against whatever I am saying, even though I have given you a valid analogy, he is saying. Okay. Now, Bhashyakara makes a very important point, very interesting here. Bhashyakara says, Na, Anya Vishayatvat. What he is saying is, see, I am not saying there is no any analogy in the Jagat to show that there is one which is having many parts, correct? Which can be considered as either one or many. I am not at all coming, or I am not at all saying it is not there like that. What I am saying is, such a analogy, whatever you are doing, correct? Such a vastu cannot be nitya. Once you say it is nitya, then there is no point in saying that it is having avayava, correct? All I am saying is a nitya vastu, if the Shruti is revealing a nitya vastu, it cannot have dvaita. That is my point. It cannot have avayava. It cannot be a savayava vastu. So he is saying, therefore, what Shruti is revealing is something else. And in that case, whatever you are saying cannot apply. So he is saying Nitya Niravayava Vastu Vishayam Hi Viruddhatvam. So the Viruddhatvam is there only with reference to a Vastu which is Nitya and Niravayava, correct? Which is eternal, which is not even subjected to time and which is partless. Not with reference to all the, in the Karyam Jagati, I can give you so many more also. In fact, You are talking about Samudra, I will add 10 more examples like that. It's not a big deal, correct? Giving an example does not establish anything. In fact, many people argue with examples themselves. That's not the point. We have to see what is being revealed by the Shruti, whether it is applicable there. So, Nitya Niravaya Vastu Vishayam hi Viruddhatvam Avochama Dvaita Advaitatvasya. So, what he is saying is that I am saying there is a contradiction only with reference to the Vastu which is Nitya and Niravayava. There you cannot have both Dvaita and Advaita. But in the Karya Jagat, that is not a problem. So, na Karya Vishaye Savayave. In the Karya Vishaya, which is having Avayavas, you can say, okay, I put together so many things and car is one. But all the parts are also there, wheels, whatever, steering, etc. So, with reference to the Karya in the effect, which is this Jagat, which is Savayava, what you say is correct. But this example, with this example, you cannot say that it is applicable to Brahman. Therefore, what? Tasmat, Shruti, Smriti, Nyaya, Virodhat, Anupapanna, Iyam, Kalpana. So, whatever your Kalpana is there, it is not tenable, it is not proper because it is opposed to Shruti, Smriti, and Nyaya. Everything it is opposed to. Therefore, what? Asyaha, Kalpanayaha, Varam, Upanishad, Parityagaha. So, if you have this kind of a Kalpana, assumptions and imaginations, then what will you get? You have to give up this Upanishad only. Whatever is being taught by the Upanishad, that you have to give up. If you take up this kind of a position, then the entire Upanishad itself will be useless. And further he is saying, Adhyayat Vachana Shastrarthayam Kalpana. Further, whatever the Brahman which you are revealing as Dvaita Advaitatmakam, it is not fit to be a Dhyana Vishaya also. Forget about Jnana Vishaya. Because we are talking about Jnana and Moksha. But even for Dhyanam, whatever the Shruti is revealing to be meditated upon, even that is not like this, he is saying. So he is saying, Nahi Janana Maranadi Anartha Shata Sahasra Bheda Samakulam Samudrava Vanadivate Savayavam Anekarasam Brahma Dhyayatvena Vijnayatvena Va Shrutya Upadishyate. So the Brahman which is having Janana, Marana, all these undesirables, correct? Hundreds of undesirables like that, and which is also having thousands of divisions like this put together Brahman, like even a samudra or even a forest, Vanadivate, Savayam, which is having parts, Aneka Rasam, which is having many different natures, you can say, or which is not of one nature. That kind of a Brahman is not being revealed by the Shruti for both Dheyatvena, Vijnayatvena, for knowledge also. Okay, both for Dhyana and Jnana. The Shruti is not teaching any Brahman like this. In fact, it's always talking about knowing this Brahman or even doing Upasana of this Brahman as one only. So, Prajnana Ghanatam cha Upadishati Ekatha eva anudrashtavyam. So, the Prajnana Ghanata means again one homogeneous consciousness it is. Like that only it is being revealed. And Ekatha eva anudrashtavyam, it has to be seen as only one, in one way, correct? Iticha anekadha darshana apavada cha, and not only this, it just doesn't say ekadha eva anudrashtavyam. The anekadha darshana is being negated or it is being ninda is done. Okay. Mrityo hosa, mrityu mapnoti iha nana iva pashyati. So the one who sees as though there is plurality here, many things, that person will go from death to death. Like this, it has been apavada also has done for anekadha darshana. Yacha Shrutya Ninditam Tanna Kartavyam. So whatever has been done Ninda by Shruti, correct? That should not be done. Tanna Kartavyam. And Yacha Kriyate, whatever is being done, okay, or Yacha Na Kriyate, and whatever is not done also by whatever in general by the Vriddhas and anybody who is the Sireshta Purushaha, that is also cannot be Shastrartha. It is not what the Shastra. If something is not done by your own gurus and whoever has come in the Jnana Parampara, that also cannot be the Shastra Artha. Therefore, here what Brahmanaha Aneka Rasatvam, Aneka Dhatvam cha Dvaita Rupam Ninditatvat na Drashtavyam. So, the Aneka Rasatvam means what? Having many natures. And Aneka Dhatvam means what? Having many parts and manyness, basically, which is Dvaita Rupa, that has been actually not praised. Forget about praise. It has been, Ninda has been done actually. Okay. So it has been put down really. Therefore, it should not be seen in that manner. Na drashtavyam. Therefore, it is also not shastrartha. Ataha na shastrartha. So it is not the meaning of the shastra, the way you are giving. And further what? Yettu ekarasatvam brahmanaha tad drashtavyatvat prashastam. And whatever this ekarasatvam, Brahman being of one nature, of being one conscious, indivisible, one whole entity, partless whole, that is the way you have to see that, because that alone has been praised also. That has been praised, prashastam. Prashastatvacha shastrartaha bhavitum arhati. So whatever has been praised alone can be considered as the shastrartha, or the meaning of the shastra, whatever the shastra is trying to reveal, correct? And further what? Yettu uktam Veda ekadeshasya apramanyam karma vishaye dvaita bhavat advaite cha pramanyamiti tanna. Okay, further he is saying, your main concern is what? Dvaita will become apramana, correct? And if you say Advaitam is Satyam, then Advaitam alone will have Pramanya. Okay, Veda Ekadeshasya Apramanya means what? Here the Ekadesha is one portion of the Veda, which is the Karma Kanda, will become invalid because there is no Dvaita. And Advaita alone will become valid knowledge. Even that is not true. Why? Yatha Prapta Upadesharthatva. See, the Karma Kanda is not interested in establishing the Satyatvam of Dvaita. Even though Dvaita may not be Satyam, whatever is said in the Karma Kanda is true for the Ajnanis, correct? There is no problem in that. The Shastra is just going along with whatever the majority of the people are taking for granted. But that is the Yatha Prapta. See, because everybody, as soon as you are born, nobody is thinking that Advaitam is Satyam. There may be some exceptions. You leave them out. 99.99999% people, they take Dvaitam is Satyam. They don't even do any vichara there. They grow up, they do whatever they do and they die. Till then, they don't do any vichara. So that means Dvaita and Dvaita Satyatva Buddhi, both I am saying. The cognition of Dvaita and taking Dvaita as true or real is something which is there, correct? The Shruti need not come and establish it. It is already there. Shruti is going along with that, correct? Whatever is already there only is saying Yatha Prapta. And whatever, based on whatever is already there, Shruti is giving some Upadesha. So that at least you do some karma according to Dharma, and then by that you get some punya, and that punya will make you, then give you some chitta shuddhi and all that, correct? Like that we have our own progression there. So yata prapta upadesharthatvat nahi dvaitam advaitam va vastu jata matrameva purusham nyapahitva paschat karma va brahma vidyam va upadishati shastram. So the shastra, as soon as somebody is born, correct? Jata matrameva purusham dvaita or advaita. So the Shruti is not teaching as soon as you are born, you have to know Dvaitam is Satyam or Advaitam is Satyam, like that. It is not saying. And based on that, it is not teaching you either Brahma Vidya or Karma, to do Karma. It's not like that. In fact, as soon as you are born, you think Dvaitam alone is Satyam. And therefore, he makes a very, very important statement here. He says, Nacha Upadesharham Dvaitam. Dvaitam is not fit to be taught. Okay? why should the Shastra reveal Dvaita? Already everybody thinks that Dvaita is real. They cognize the Dvaita and they take it to be real also, correct? So he says, Jata Matra Prani Buddhi Gamyatva. So Dvaita is just because you are born and you are cognizing your surroundings, from then onwards, you are different, objective world is different. Nobody has to teach you this, correct? The very body consciousness differentiates you from yourself and your surroundings. So, Jata Matra Prani Buddhi Gamyatva, it is very natural, it is Naisargikaha, that's why. Nacha Dvaitasya Anritatva Buddhihi Prathamameva Kasyachit Syat, and also what? And nobody also takes this Dvaita as Anrita for the Shastra to come and say that it is Satya, correct? The Shastra need not establish the Satyatvam of Dvaita. So it is not Upadesha Arha, because everybody takes Dvaita as Satyam already from the time you are born. So Prathamameva Anritatva Buddhi Kasyachit na syat. Nobody has this Buddhi, therefore what? Yena Dvaitasya Satyatvam Upadishya Paschat Atmanaha Pramanyam Pratipadayet Shastram. Because he is very worried, if Dvaita is not there, Shastra's Pramanya will go away. So Bhashyakara says, Shastra need not come and tell you that Dvaita is Satyam and then only establish its own Pramanya. Correct? Because if Dvaita is not there, the Pramatra, Pramana, Prameya Vyavahara itself is gone. Correct? The Triputi is gone. That way also Pramanyam will not be there for the Shastra. So if it says Advaitam, Shastra itself will not become a Pramana. That is also his worry. But Shastra need not come and first establish the Satyatvam of Dvaita so that it itself can become valid or anything like that. Everybody takes Dvaitam as Satyam, and so it goes along with that Yatha Prapta Vishaya, and it instructs, it gives whatever is to be done, etc. Correct? So, Napi Pashandibihi api Prasthapitaha Shastrasya Pramanyam na Grinhiyuhu. The other point he is making interestingly is, see what if somebody takes this world as Maya, Mithya, then also they will not consider your Shastra as a Pramana. Like Buddhists are all there. So there are also Avedikas who say that the world is Maya. They also don't consider your Shastra as a Pramana, correct? Shastrasya Pramanyam na Grinniyuhu. Okay. So, whichever way it is, if you are worried about the Shastra Pramanya, whether those who say Dvaita is Satyam, also for them Shastra is Pramana, then you go along. The Shastra is revealing certain things, but even they may not accept the Shastra again. Even those who take Shastra, the Dvaita as Satya, in fact, nowadays most of the people do not consider the Veda as a Pramana. Or even if you say the world is all illusion, etc., then also you may not take the Veda as Pramana. So the Veda Pramanya is not dependent on Dvaitasya Satyatvam or Asatyatvam. That's what Bhashyakara wants to point out here. Therefore, what? Tasmat yatha praptameva dvaitam avidyakritam swabhavikam upadaya swabhavikya eva avidyaya yuktaya ragadveshadi doshavate yata bhimata purushartha sadhanam karma upadishati agre. So agre, in the beginning, what? Yatha praptameva dvaitam. So the dvaitam is already prapta for everybody. Dvaitam is already there. And therefore what? Going along with that, and which is this Dvaitam itself is what? It is Avidya Krita, fine. It is because of Avidya only, but it is natural, it is Swabhavika. And taking that into account, Upadaya, Swabhavikya eva Avidyaya Yuktaya Ragadveshadi Doshavat, the one who has Ragadvesha, defects like Raga and Dvesha, correct? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, all these defects are all there in any person. So the one who is naturally afflicted with avidya and one who has all these defects due to avidya only. Avidya, kama and all this. Kama is ragadvesha. Then kama can then become krodha, etc. We have talked about it. So all these dosha, one who has, for that person, correct? For him, whatever he thinks is his purushartha, correct? to fulfill his desires, sadhanam karma upadishati. For that, it is giving some means, which are all karma. Okay, in the beginning. But later on, what? Paschat prasiddha kriya karaka phala swarupa dosha darshanavate. Okay, the one who has seen defects in this kriya karaka phala swarupa karma. Correct? See, kriya itself, the action if you take, which is very prasiddha, everybody is going for doing something, correct, and gaining something and thinking that by that they will somehow become free from all wants. That is never going to happen. So the one who does lot of things and then suddenly gets some bulb glows and they think that yes, I don't want any worldly pursuit. Whatever I do here, it's not going to make me limitless and free from all wants. So is there anything like that? One who starts looking out for such things means that person has seen the defect in the kriya karaka phala swarupa. Correct? The action, its result, and all the factors of action involved, all these things, whatever they can give the phala, that is not good enough. In fact, even whatever I gain, I have to lose something to gain always something. Right? Anything you gain, any sukha you gain also, there is a dukkha mishritatvam is there. That is the truth of the worldly sukha. Therefore, you see the defect there, and what happens here for that person, paschat, one who has seen that for him. That's why pariksha lokan karmachitan nasti akritaha kritena. Like that, brahmanaha nirvedamaya. The brahmana who has dispassion after analyzing the world and understanding that what I really want is not a karma phala. For him also that is yatha praptam, no. For him also Shruti has to reveal something, correct? For that person, what? Tad viparita audasinya swarupa avasthana palarthine. That's what. So the one who has seen the defect in all this karma and something which is different from karma, correct? Tad viparita. In fact, that which is totally opposite to karma, which is jnanam, which is audasinyam also. Being audasinyam means what? Not non-challenge, you can say in English. Means you are not, you are totally asanga, really speaking. You want to understand the Atma which is unconnected to anything. Okay, any karma phala. That is what you want. That is the Audasinya Swarupa. Okay, Asanga Swarupa basically. And in that you want to have Avastha. Correct. Audasinya Swarupa Avasthana Phalartine. That only is the phala you want. You want Nishta. You want to be established in your Atma Swarupa, which is unconnected to any Kartrutvam itself. Correct. For such a person, Tad Upaya Bhutam Atmaikatva Darshanatmikam Brahma Vidyam Upadishati. Only for that person, Shruti is revealing this. Therefore, depending on who you are, Shruti is always valid. There is no question of Shruti becoming invalid. That is the main point he is making here. So, in whichever way we look at it, Shruti is always valid. It depends on the. So, here, Bhashyakara is giving a new way of reconciliation because in Karma Kanda we saw Utsarga Apavada or Vikalpa. But now he is saying Adhikari Beda also is an important way of reconciling contradictory statements. In fact, we use this a lot even to understand many things in the Vedanta Shastra. How do we understand that Adhikari Beda is an important thing to reconcile? That's what he is saying here. Correct? So, Atma Ekatva Darshanatmikam Brahma Vidyam, this Brahma Vidya which is teaching you the oneness of this Atma which is limitless, that is being taught by the Shruti for such a person who has Viveka and Vairagya. Therefore, what? Atha evam sati tad audasinya swarupa avasthane pale prapte shastrasya pramanyam prati arthitvam nivartate. Further, what he says is, because these people are worried, correct? If Advaitam Brahma or Advaita, Atma is Advaita, then what about Pramana, Prameya, Pramatri, Vyapara? Means, how does it matter once you know yourself as not even a knower? You are not a knower anymore. If you are a jnani knows that he is not a knower. It may seem contradictory, but that is the truth. I am not even a knower. That is my truth. That is my very nature. So what? I'm no more interested in any pramana vyapara itself. Then why are you coming and forcing whether the Shruti is a pramana or not? It doesn't mean anything to me. I am udasina to that also, correct? I am nonchalant towards that because I know that I am not a knower. So then what is the, for such a person, there is no need of any more pramana also, correct? Once you have known yourself that you are not a knower, there is no scope for a pramana to come and act or anything. So it is like a ladder. You want to go up, you don't want to come down at all, let us say. So you take the ladder and you can kick the ladder also. Of course, you can keep the ladder so that somebody else also can come up. That's not a problem. But that ladder is not useful to you anymore, correct? Or you are in primary KG class. You have passed, now you go to middle school, whatever, high school, college. You don't hold on to that grade only, correct? I will be only in this grade, etc. It is no more useful to you. You have gone past that. You have passed it. Like that, for this person, even if that pramanyam of the Shruti and all is not, Shastrasya Pramanyam itself is not meaningful, correct? Shastrasya Pramanyam prati arthitvam nivartate, it goes away. It is no more useful to him anyway. So, tad abhavat Shastrasyapi Shastratvam tam prati nivartate eva, and because he doesn't have any need for the Shastra also need not be a Shastra for Vedo Bhavati, like that. Even the Brhadaranyaka Upanishad, we see that, correct? So this is a very interesting bhashya. A little bit more is there. We'll continue in the next class. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद.